Imagine, if you will, a dusty square in ancient Athens, the sun beating down on white marble, the air thick with the chatter of philosophers, merchants, and the occasional donkey braying in the background. It's here, in this bustling marketplace of ideas, that we find Socrates, barefoot as usual, cornering a young aristocrat named Meno. And oh, what a cornering it is. Welcome, philosophers. Today, we're splashing about in Plato's Meno, a dialogue that's as much about what we know as how on earth we come to know it. Picture this. Meno, a handsome, confident lad from Thessaly, struts up to Socrates with a question that sounds simple, but is anything but. "Can you tell me, Socrates," he says, "is virtue something that can be taught? Or does it come by practice? Or is it just something you're born with?" Now, you might think Socrates would just answer the man. But no, Socrates, that cheeky gadfly, does what he always does. He turns the question back on Meno like a mirror. "Well, Meno," he says, "before we figure out if virtue can be taught, don't we need to know what virtue is?" And there's the rub, isn't it? You can't teach something if you don't know what it is. It's like trying to give someone driving lessons without knowing what a car is. Meno, undeterred, tries to define virtue. He says it's one thing for a man, another for a woman, another for a child, an elder. You get the picture. It's a laundry list of virtues, as if virtue is just a bunch of different outfits you wear, depending on who you are. Socrates, with that twinkle in his eye, dismantles this faster than you can say toga. He wants a single definition, something that ties all these virtues together like a golden thread running through the whole line of human goodness. Meno tries again, suggesting virtue is the ability to rule over people. Socrates pounces. Does that mean a child or an elder can't be virtuous? Meno's getting flustered now, and you can almost hear the sweat dripping off his brow in the Athenian heat. He throws out another definition. Virtue is desiring good things and having the power to get them. Socrates, ever the mischief maker, points out that everyone desires what they think is good, even if it's not. So that definition's out the window too. It's like watching a master sculptor chip away at a block of marble, revealing the shape beneath, or in this case, revealing that Meno's got no shape at all when it comes to defining virtue. Now, here's where things get zesty. Meno, frustrated, hits Socrates with a paradox that's been puzzling philosophers for centuries. He says, "How can you inquire into something you don't know? If you don't know what virtue is, how will you recognize it when you find it? And if you already know it, why bother inquiring?" It's a proper brain twister, isn't it? It's like saying you can't look for your lost keys unless you already know where they are. Socrates, rather than throwing his hands up, grins and says, "This paradox shows something profound. We must already have knowledge inside us, waiting to be remembered." This is where Plato, through Socrates, drops one of his most famous ideas, the theory of recollection. Socrates calls over one of Meno's servant boys, barely educated, mind you, and starts asking him questions about a geometry problem. He's got the boy drawing squares in the dirt, doubling their size, working out the diagonals. The boy doesn't know geometry, not properly, but through Socrates' questions he starts figuring it out. Step by step he gets to the answer himself. Socrates' point: the boy's soul must have known this truth before he was born. Learning, then, isn't about stuffing new information into your head. It's about remembering what your soul already knows from some eternal cosmic library. It's a wild idea, isn't it? Imagine your mind as a dusty attic, full of truths you've forgotten since you were a twinkle in the universe's eye. Every time you learn something, you're just blowing the cobwebs off an old truth. It's poetic, it's mystical, and it's pure Plato. But let's not get too carried away with the starry-eyed stuff just yet. Socrates uses this to get back to virtue. If knowledge is recollection, maybe virtue is too. Maybe it's not something you teach in a classroom, but something you help someone remember through the right kind of questioning. So they bring in a new character, Anytus, a grumpy politician who's one of Socrates' eventual accusers. Anytus insists that any decent gentleman can teach virtue. Just look at the great statesmen of Athens. Socrates, with his usual slyness, points out that the sons of these great men are often utter disappointments. If virtue could be taught, wouldn't these famous fathers have passed it on to their kids? Anytus storms off in a huff, and you can almost see Socrates chuckling behind his beard. Back to the servant boy experiment. It's not just a parlour trick, it's Socrates showing that even an uneducated lad can grasp complex truths with the right guidance. This is the Socratic method in action. No lectures, no sermons, just questions that pull the truth out of you like a midwife delivering a baby. Plato's making a big point here. Knowledge isn't about memorizing facts. It's about thinking, questioning, digging deep into your own mind. But here's the kicker. They never actually answer Meno's original question. Is virtue teachable? They conclude that if virtue is a kind of knowledge, then yes, it should be teachable. But is it knowledge? They're not sure. True statesmen, Socrates says, act virtuously not because they've learned it, but because they've got a kind of divine inspiration, like a prophet or a poet. It's not quite teaching, not quite practice, not quite nature. It's a bit of a cop-out, but it's also honest. Sometimes the most philosophical thing you can do is admit you don't have all the answers. Now, every time you've had a light bulb moment, solving a problem, understanding a friend, figuring out what's right in a tough situation, that's a bit of Socratic recollection. It's you remembering something your soul already knew. And that question of virtue, it's still with us. Are good people born or made? Can we teach our kids to be kind, just, courageous? Or is it something deeper, something we can only hope to nudge them toward? Plato's Meno is like a mirror held up to our own minds. It asks us to question what we think we know, to dig deeper, to wonder if the truths we seek are already inside us, waiting for the right question to set them free. And Socrates, that barefoot troublemaker, reminds us that philosophy isn't about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to ask the questions. So, next time you're stuck on a problem, don't just Google it. Sit down, ask yourself some hard questions and see what you might already know. You might just surprise yourself. And that, my friends, is the magic of philosophy. Until next time, keep questioning, keep wondering, and keep remembering.